Ironhearts, Book 1, Planetfall, by SFaccountant. Disclaimer: I have no bloody idea what I'm doing. Legal disclaimer: My Little Pony Friendship is Magic is owned by Hasbro. Warhammer 40k is owned by Games Workshop. Dramatis Personae: Iron Warriors 38th Company. Solon, Warsmith, devotee of Nurgle. Tellus, Raptor Lord, devotee of Gorn. Silver, Vice Commander, devotee of Nurgle. Sereth, Sorcerer. Kessler, Warpsmith. Dest, Rhino Driver. Wyatt Daniels, Human Mercenary. Dark Mechanicus. Calith, Dark Magos, Company Executor. Diamond, Dark Tech Priest. Gyla, Dark Acolyte. Imperial Database File 38196-646C. Rogue Chaos Fleet, 38th Company. Classification Level: Secundus. Unit Composition: Renegade Astarte of the Iron Warriors Legion. Designation: Traitorous Excommunicatus. Various mercenary and pirate raiders, and Dark Mechanicus detachments. Fleet Composition: Most reports place the company's fleet assets at 8 to 10 ships, ranging in size from a battlecruiser-sized mega-freighter to small escort frigates. All are based on recognized Imperial pattern civilian vessels, and are designed to register as freighters and transports to low-intensity scans. These vessels have all been heavily modified to serve as effective combat craft, although it is believed they still utilize a great deal of their original cargo capacity. Confirmed activity: There have been 469 confirmed incursions into Imperial space by the Iron Warriors 38th Company, and at least 100 more suspected incursions in which there was not enough evidence remaining to determine that it was not the work of some other traitor legion operating in Imperial territory, such as the Alpha Legion or Night Lords. There are also 55 confirmed cases of this fleet operating in xenospace and contested regions. The fleet will apparently assault Orc installations and has been spotted numerous times on the eastern fringe, raiding Tau colonies. There is even a confirmed report of the fleet assaulting a Necron tomb world. Tactici Analysis: The primary objective of the fleet seems to be mass scavenging and piracy in order to feed the voracious appetite for material resources demanded by the Iron Warriors' sieges and fortifications. They primarily strike at Imperial supply lines, but not with the intensity of an enemy seeking to disrupt a war effort. The 38th Company prefers military equipment, but has been known to attack Adeptus Mechanicus research outposts in poorly defended agri-worlds regularly. Learned Inquisitors will note that the objectives and tactics of pirate raiders sit at odds with the Iron Warriors' usual specializations in siege warfare and heavy fortification, and field reports suggest that their Legion orthodoxy tends to complicate their ability to engage targets quickly, capture them with minimal damage, and escape reprisal. On the other hand, the 38th Company is extremely well supplied thanks to their efforts, suffering little of the material shortages and equipment degradation that constantly plague other traitor legions. In addition, the fleet, although small, possesses a number of unique technological artifacts salvaged from their raids, along with the usual assortment of heretical xenotech and accursed warped sorcery that one would expect from the soldiers of chaos. On the battlefield, the 38th Company shows the usual preference for heavy weaponry and attention to their firing lines as characteristic of the Iron Warriors, along with strategic attention to mobility in order to move captured supplies to the fleet's holds as soon as possible and escape an aggravated response. They use orbital dropped weapon emplacements and temporary defensive walls extensively, and their rapid-built fortifications are often left behind in their withdrawal from engagement zones, which has made it much easier for our Inquisitors to confirm their activities. Unusually for pawns of the Great Enemy, their combat zones rarely show many traces of the warp-based corruption and heretical rituals typical of the Chaos Legions, and most sites that have fallen victim to their attacks have been cleared by the Emperor's Inquisition as fit for rebuilding. They strike, they fortify, they scavenge, and they leave. Were it not for their combat forces consisting of traitor Astarte, they would have been nothing more than common pirates, and be treated as such. Unfortunately, as they are remnants of a traitor legion, the Imperium cannot afford a limited response. The traitors must be destroyed entirely, and all traces of their existence purged. History. Records recovered from the Forbidden Archives detail the 38th Company being a combat group in the Iron Warriors' battalions dedicated exclusively to logistics and guarding supply lines. Given that siege works and fortifications require extensive supplies and expert management, the traitor Primarch thought it prudent for each of his grand battalions to dedicate an entire company to managing, scavenging, and protecting the Legion's resources rather than leave such inglorious duties to Imperial Army detachments or Mechanicus aides, like almost all other legions did before the heresy. Regardless, even in the Iron Warriors, a legion that specialized in the most grueling and tedious aspects of warfare, this was considered a punishment detail. It is rumored that Solon, the Chaos Warpsmith that commands the company today, is the same Techmarine Solon that originally commanded the 21st Grand Battalion's 38th Company when the Legion betrayed their oaths to the Emperor. But our analysts find that theory to be highly unlikely. Presumably the name is an honorary title, or perhaps the result of some other ritual demanded by the war-battled traitors. The modern incarnation of the 38th Company is, obviously, considerably larger than a military company component. Inquisitors who have interrogated captured soldiers from the group and studied its history believe that the fleet is composed of several surviving battalions as 38th companies, cobbled together and given duties that fulfill their old purpose, with which methods are more appropriate for traitors and renegades. Why the fleet refers to itself under its old, obsolete, and inaccurate designation is unclear. Some suggest it is simply a lack of respect for conventional military organization, while others suppose that the company is still used as a dumping grounds for unwanted and incompetent traitor marines, and the title is imposed upon it as a gesture of contempt by the legion that depends on its efforts. In any case, the fleet's name is hardly important so long as Imperial forces recognize that it is not limited to a single company's worth of soldiers. Recommended response. The 38th Company's outsized military strength and experience render them all but invulnerable to typical security measures used to combat pirate raiders. However, the relatively small size of the fighting force, combined with their unimpressive skill at infiltration and stealth, mean that they are unable to approach moderately sized military targets, and must constantly be on the move to avoid retribution from Imperial fleets. However, their Legion combat doctrines encourage their forces to prepare a defense against resistance rather than move on, which causes the fleet to linger longer than it should be in the face of overwhelming firepower. As such, this can be the only rational response once an incursion by the 38th Company Iron Warriors is detected. Thought for the day. Let your pity beget wrath, not mercy. Death is the greater kindness to the enemies of the Emperor. Intro music and accompanying graphics put together by Annanychus and Regex Rationalist. And remember, please like, favorite, and subscribe, and let us know in the comments what you'd like me, Wolvenreign, to read next. You've been listening to Wolven Reads. Good night.